Game 1, and really, that's what wrecked TES. But we came into that series and game saying, all right, there was no real setup for a Rumble equalizer behind it. This game, a bit caught out of position. The Ignite comes down, but Flandre also getting engaged up, but he's setting up for Tarzan. There's no cleanse on JackeyLove. Tarzan remembers and gets his top laner first blood. Tarzan everywhere on the map, but he's looking for more here, going after Hong, who has to dash her. Tibbers does have to be expended. They're going after Flandre again. He's going to equalizer the wave. Knockup does land into the Blade Caller Slam. That was really well layered from Kanavi and TES. And the TP from Kyle, of all people, just a little bit too late.
Yeah, and that means that Kyle's now just sort of stuck up in the top side of the map. He can't even really step up to catch this wave properly. He won't be able to push it back at all. And so you've just sort of moved people out of the ideal positions. Hope going to come join up towards the top side. And actually, you know what, Kyle stepping up far enough, stopping any plates from going over isn't going to be the end of the world. Gets to join up with his ADC, but he just needs to be careful not to keep stepping up because Kanavi is sprinting top.
Okay, he's trying to buy time, but Kanavi's there first, like you called out. Good Ixtal's Impact Slam again. A rare...
hang on.
Oh, and Grand Starfall. Here comes Tarzan, hot and ready for another kill, and there's nothing 360 can do about it. Manifest here in the Drake pit. You're going to be able to pick up that first Mountain Drake and even out the win con of Drake stacking. Kanavi.
Ashes to Virgin. It's just extra survivability, which is interesting, right? I think you do kind of need it into this composition AO have for themselves. If you ever get jumped like this. Hang on, James.
Good Tipper Stun initially to make sure 369 can't step up. The exhaust goes on to Kanavi. They're really trying to get Shakes out, but he gets charmed up by the quickness, and the needlework should burn through his health bar. Kanavi picks up the kill despite the Magnet Storm from Kyle. A little bit too late to try and save his mid lane. AL, I don't know if you walk in here. I think they might just barrel down mid lane and trade this for a tier 1 turret.
Yeah, it is a very easy swap if you want to do that, and it's a much harder gambit to try to actually go for this steal over. Still, it's taking them a little while. They will be able to grab themselves this tower.
Kyle. They don't have him marked over the wall. He pulls Cream into the equalizer. JackeyLove flashing back out to safety. Grand Starfall. They're all going in for Cream, but he slips out on the back end of this fight. Tarzan with the big wall up on the E will get Blade Collared, knocked up, slammed around by Kanavi. The Impale may go wide, but Cream picks up the kill. 369 dies at the top side of the fight, and look at the HP bars of JackeyLove and Cream. There's no way for them to step up. Shakes finally gets the stun up and stuns them both through. Flandre gets out over the Drake pit wall. Boom goes the dynamite. Ace to AL.
All of the carries managed to get away with that one for AL, and it's just such a
They always want to set up these big flanks, and Flandre is in position to do so, but he doesn't have the equalizer, and Hong grants that he's a little bit out of position. He goes on to Kanavi instead, throws up the big E shield to block all the damage from JackeyLove, but the Impale is masterful from Tarzan, picked off by Kanavi, and Flandre falls next. Both junglers making their statements in this first game.
Absolutely, Kanavi with that double Impale is going to lock this one up. Without a jungler, it's going to be really hard to try to force TES off of this. Still, they want to go for
it. Gets the crash down into the Magnet Storm with the Tipper Stun. Kanavi's still alive, though. Hope is going to flash after him to find the kill, but gets knocked up. The equalizer value not there. It's just Shakes left up. He's going to trade Cream, but that's not a problem for top Esports.
Such an odd engage right there out of AL. They really didn't want to give up the Atacam, but didn't decide to play this one slowly, poke members out instead. Everybody goes flying in, and it just does not work out.
Try and cleanse those ailments by picking off Hong. Just jumps right back towards his team, and the Dragon goes down. TES picked that one up.
So far, so good. I really couldn't tell you who was going to be able to win this one out, as everybody's got one tower apiece, relatively even in gold as well. There's 100 gold advantage right here for TES. They'll be able to expand this in a second. This tower should be falling right here to Cream. That's going to be a little bit of extra gold into their back pockets, and with the slight advantage of one extra Drake, you could mildly give it over to TES, but I don't know. This one's super close so far.
You're just giving 369 more time on this top side to maybe just set a trap here onto Flandre. Flash out, he's trying to run away from the needlework, but Hong and Kanavi are in hot pursuit. Kyle's going to tank up the first Ixtal's Impact, but Flandre is down. The equalizer gets 0 value. And I might have misspoke here, Blockster.
Kanavi And the Baron play does get stopped. About 1,000 gold lead now for TES.
Oh, another TP flank.
Do what he can to stop this one. He needs to run.
He runs back towards his team, though. They're dumping everything onto Kanavi. They're also TPing Flandre back in with 369. Is he strong enough? Kyle gets a double Magnet Storm onto Jackulov, forces out the Feather Storm. They're going all in for Jackulov, and Tarzan picks up the kill. 369's flank is only going after Flandre, who goes into the stasis perfectly. Now the rest of AL can step back up with their Yunara to bring home the fight. No one left for TES to climb back in this one.
Now it's just going to be 369 limping away at the end of this one. Kanafi is up, but he's just heading towards the bottom side of the map. That's going to be Baron right here for AL, and it's another big, messy team fight. But Hope also picks up that tier 2 tower before he turns tail. That's just going to help them out in trying to end this game. I like this from TES. Just push through the mid wave, get yourself this tower potentially, and also just make it harder for the siege to come through from AL because they will have Baron buff.
And they won't hold it for Flandre, so they'll have it on 4 members. Big, if you haven't seen it yet, folks, the damage at this point in the game on this champion is disgusting.
Yeah.
Not going to see it here, though. Top lane tier 2 turret going to go down there. TES doing a good job indexing away from the Baron push because there were a couple far out.
With this Baron buff, it hasn't actually been a big gainer of gold. Kyle goes in again.
But he gets caught by Kanavi, gets thrown against the wall, the Impale. They're using a lot just onto the AL support, and Kyle will happily gobble them up. Kanavi is down, and Hog is pushed out of the fight as the stun lands on a Jackulov, shakes his flank, comes across, the Feather Storm won't save him, and boom, the Golden comes out. 369 may run towards the backline, trade out Hope, but I don't think he's got enough to clean up the rest of these kills. No, he doesn't. Tarzan stuns him down, and Cream and Hog way too low to step up to compete for this 4th dragon.
You called out perfectly right. They blow everything on to trying to kill Kyle. They don't even manage to pick up the kill, and it's just not enough that 369 able to get into the backline. He hasn't been able to build himself a super aggressive build.
That is a problem. TES are actually the ones to start this Baron up, and they do it very, very quickly. Tarzan is going to go away from the Baron originally, but Hong is actually baiting them. Tarzan flashes in, does not get the steal. Impale goes down onto Tarzan. He's able to block a lot of the damage, re-engage on top of Cream. Emperor's Divide trying back the way, but the Equalizer, Cream's trapped on. He has to flash out of it. The Flandre with the all-out does not find the kill. It's a huge Feather Storm paired with the needlework from Jackulov and 369 to wipe the floor with AL, and Tarzan's going to die. It's the ace coming through, a knockout blow thrown by your Split 1 champion.
There you go, AL. They felt like they were in control of this game, but all of a sudden, TS, they snap back. And with the 40-second death timers on a couple of the members right here for AL, this is going to be the victory for TS. You can see pushing their way straight through the mid lane. Teleport going to be coming back in as well. Extra damage in the pocket of 369. The fight is back and forth, and all of a sudden, TES, they call game.
It was back and forth. AL had Baron. They had so much control. But one final fight, one fight with your scaling solo lanes decides it all. Tarzan leading the jungle is so proactive in the mid-game phase with the Wukong Orianna. They should be able to find really good angles with this. Maybe he feels safe with Hong and Kanavi here, but he is way too low. Kanavi, though, with the skirmishing power like we talked about early, is slugging out with Tarzan, but he's buying time for Hope, who we thought was homeless, but maybe found a way to fight his way in here. Tarzan flashes away from Kanavi. One more on from Hope. Grabs first blood over to AL. Cream flashes over the red buff pit, and now Hong, flashless himself, is likely to surrender the 2nd kill over to Hope.
There we go. Yeah, we were talking about how it looked.
Kanavi becomes lightning, but he sees the pink word. He's going to face check into Kyle, who ignites first, then flashes after. The double onslaught is up for Flandre. That ult is clutching, getting Hope his 3rd kill. 3 for 3 from the
side of the map, but there's not really anything he can do. Maybe if you get a real big push going, you can try for a dive onto Flandre as your cross-map play, but I really don't see that one coming to any fruition. Yeah.
He's got flash, and he's Scion. So, yeah, that's...
Hope and pray that are going to be doing so much damage, but you just need to stop the game accelerating out of control for you.
All right, Tarzan is sacking 3 grubs to make this play work with a Cyclone and Shockwave, and Hong, without Summers this time, will bite the Pied Piper. Kanavi with the Crescent Guard with the Arcane Storm is going to get Cream his first reset, but he doesn't have enough juice left, and he's going to run out of HP. Down goes Kanavi. It's really just that killer instinct, and Hope why are we still here? Maybe not expecting Hong to be hanging around, but he doesn't have flash. He's going to hold on to the Killer Instinct, use it for the shield dash. Tarzan here to save his AD carry, though. 369 flashes behind Hong, and bot side.
He can do work in this one.
Gotta respect the Cyclone Shockwave combo from Tarzan and Shanks, who are on the Dragon right now. As Kyle is gonna flash away from the head, but pulverized. Kanavi's going in with the Crescent Guard, and he's gonna steal away the Dragon. Tarzan low, but he sets up the Shockwave. Feast is up for the taking, but 369 not close enough to chop down on it. All hope is free, hitting with the lethal tempo as Jackie Love and Cream have to bite it back and run for the high hills here. Gravitonwell gonna stun up Kyle, and Hong able to slip.
Right now, as these TES members, it's not as much, right? You need to be landing it onto concentrated members, picture in picture.
Tarzan engaged upon, turns it like he always does with Kyle waiting in the wings. Hope doesn't have that Killer Instinct to dash across the fight, but isn't needed. Another great bait from Tarzan. Knocked down from a game 1 exit. Even at 2-2, they have been pretty competitive in the best of 3 scenario set.
Yeah.
It's going to be a turret knockdown here for Shanks, so they're able to claim.
He's learning a lot about them here. Getting pushed quite hard. Potential dive going through right now. 369, he's got flash coming up in a couple of seconds' time. He's about 11 seconds away from that one.
But it's too late because the wave gets in and the knockups sing through. Hope grabs himself another kill. This is what makes AL one of the deadliest teams in the LPL. You give them a lead, they will take every fight, every neutral, really just everything off the map they can.
They're not slowing down at all. They know that this composition works at its absolute peak once you get about 2 items into people. And they're just going to keep on rolling through with this one right here. Like I said, a bit of a weird little couple situation still. TES now going to go for another engage. Kyle, he's caught out here.
Flandra's TPing in.
Mind the TP.
He is very tanky on this Scion by this point. He is pretty comfortable standing up tall to all of them. Done well, not going to get a lot of value here. Kanavi is the first one to be turned down by Flandra. Arcane Storm comes out. There's a lot of distance created right now by TS's comp. 369 does hit the Rupture onto Kyle in the back. He's looking to feast down, and he gets Flandra picked off. Boom! Kyle goes down next with a Shockwave. Hits 3 from Shanks. Can Flandra get in towards Kanavi's low health bar? No, but Hope can. Killer Instinct across the fight. Does find Kanavi. But TES are still 4 versus 3. Tarzan dipping in and out with that Wukong, using the Trickster well. But neither team looks like...
AL are really far ahead. Was not easy for them to play out.
There'll be something to revisit when the next fight breaks out. But I do like TES willing to give away some of these neutrals. Third Drake when it's 1-1, doesn't matter. Mountain Soul, a problem for a future TES. Right now, they just need to take as much standing gold as they can off the map to get to these bigger item breakpoints of their scaling composition. The problem is AL have so many windows to match that. So you drop a tier 1 turret in the top lane with 369. Outcon, though, not started. AL, they want to see out how the walk-in comes across here from TES, and it's pretty easy when 369 can lead that charge. Love this Herald pop, though, from Tarzan on the backside. Kyle is going to engage right on top of Kanavi. Crescent Guard's going to make sure Hope can't get any damage through, though. Cyclone coming through. Where's the Shockwave? It can't come through because Shanks gets ruptured. They're dumping the damage onto 369, and with Hope, he can churn him through. Knocks down the front line of TES. And now, top Esports have to rely on...
immediately bailed out to go and push onto this mid lane. With those 3 grubs in the back pocket as well, this is going to be nice and easily picked up. That's a big injection of gold into AL's pocket. At the end of this fight, yes, 369 dies and they end up losing out onto the fight, but everybody from AL is down below half HP.
Here we go, Bloxer, though. The Autocom was still up, and they're going to go back to the same plan, which is, hey, Hope does more than enough damage on the 369, and with a double knockup from the Scion, with the Cyclone, 369 can't move. He does a fleeting feast, but Tarzan won't die. Kanavi goes all in, but the Shockwave holds him in place and makes sure they can get Tarzan out. AL's pristine team fighting is back like it never left.
Yeah, that's unfortunate for TES. They just step a little bit too far forwards, and unlike in the previous fight, Flandra did have the ulti available to be able to knock a couple of people back. The Atakan going to go over to AL on top of their 2 Drakes, on top of their 3 Grubs as well. They are in such a strong position into this game. And so far, AL have got complete and utter control of this one. They're going to be able to pick themselves up their 3rd dragon of the game. Soul Point, Mountain Soul Point.
Pretty well. Yep. But Cream and Hong were in position to get out, but the Void Seeker does hit onto Cream, and Hope immediately pulls the Killer Instinct to go after him. The Gravitonwell Arcade Storm, not enough, because AL had a beat on...
Cream just doesn't have that sort of damage.
Hong, Unbreakable Will. Killer Instinct not up for Hope, but the Shockwave is there for Shanks, and the ult runs out, and that means Shanks does a lot more damage with those autos. Hong goes down, and Tarzan still looking hungry for more. Eyeing a flank angle, but with AL as ahead of as they are, they could just rip Baron, and Tarzan will do that. He's going to give away this flank, try and keep the vision up. You can see how dark the pit is for Kanavi, and they're just going to jump onto Kyle, but Flaundra's going to flash over the wall. Tarzan can follow the Trickster pretty shortly. The TP into the pit for 369 is a bit audacious. He gets the knockup onto Tarzan, but again, look and hope just to lead the health bar. Yeah, sure, feast on our support. It doesn't matter. He's willing to sacrifice himself because you've gotten rid of all your front line, and that means Hope gets to break the door down, flying after your carries. AL clinical, looking to force this series the distance.
Hong going to be the only member still alive, and that's because he was dead when it started. It's going to be the Baron picked up here for AL. They only need one more Drake to get that soul as well, but I don't even know if they're going to need it. 2 minutes until that's up, and with the Baron empowered minions, they can look to crack open these towers. They've still got outer towers in the top and the bottom side to go for. Hong also just going to die. That's going to be the ace coming through as well.
He had smite. I respect the hustle. He's like, all right.
It's and a bunch. This is insane.
Here comes the big bus. Flaundra just here to protect Shanks so they can usher the wave back in. Tarzan is a bit picked off here. The Graviton Well stun will layer, but he pops the Cyclo as Kanavi dives in. Shanks flash back over the wall. Kanavi will flash after him, but even if you find this kill onto Shanks, everybody else is dead. He doesn't even get that. Hope with an instant triple kill. Jackie Love cowering back towards his fountain, but this should be the final push. A devious response out of anyone's legend to force this series to Game 3.
And this is what we wanted when we came into today, right? The Group Nirvana game was a warm-up for AL, TES, these two teams who are fighting for the top of the table, who want a chance at winning it all and sending themselves to Worlds. Hope.
Oh, Hope, they're already dead, man. Just doing laps around this team right now. And hey, why not another dredge line? Why not another kill? 27 in 28 minutes in the win for AL.
Looking to join up with the rest of the squad here.
369 back on his patent Aatrox as well. It is, I believe TP, he's going to walk his way back top, so could have a first game here, Bloxer, in the series where bot lane stays put until ultimates really come online. Speaking of ultimates, there's Scream dropping the between worlds. Shanks does not get the Realm Warp out. Great flag and drag from Kanavi, and Cream grabs the first kill. Take a couple licks at Kyle and Hope. But with them standing tall and being safe, Kanavi really doesn't have ability to force this dragon. Cream can go invis over the wall. Shouldn't be able to disrupt this Drake take, though. Tarzan's going to smite that one home, and now TS are kind of getting pincered on, but they're going after Shanks again. He has flash, though. Gets out over the wall. Kanavi too low. Kyle going to flash after, but not enough damage with the Airy to find that kill. Going to go for the root onto Jackie Love. Can he will get close enough to kill off Jackie Love? No, because Kyle goes down first. Flash forward, Bramble Smash. Yes, you do get Jackie Love, but boy, do you pay a high bounty for it in the name of Top Esports. Shanks trades out one, but it's feats of warfare and more gold for Top Esports.
TES, they get ability to survive at the moment, and especially because he knows he's got some friends on the way in as well. Kanavi and Hung gonna arrive right here, and this could potentially be a dive onto a half-health Shanks.
Oh, Tarzan, he's just barely out of position. I don't think Shanks gets this through. Yeah, the Between Worlds uses the edge and the Glacial Fissure knockup. That is such a crisp combo coming across here. And it's weird, right, Bloxer? Game 2, we talked a lot about how TES drafted a comp where they kind of have to settle their nerves early and play slow. AL are in a much similar spot by this point, and they are not doing that. Tarzan is just wickedly out of position, playing for a Scuttle Crab, and now he's just dead. And maybe set up Flaundra to go next here. Cataclysm flash forward. Kanavi's going to chase through the main on the back end of this fight, but Jackie Love can't get in with the threat of Kyle's Karma, but Kanavi doesn't care. He's just claiming flashes like trophies right now.
Yeah, everybody having to flash away, and that's going to open this Drake straight back up once again. Kanavi able to start this one up. At least he managed to get the push through from AL onto the mid lane. That's going to stop this from being quite so bad. You're not going to lose out onto quite as much gold as you would have otherwise. But Drake stacking was one of the good things that was happening for AL. Tarzan had good control over the objectives so far. That wasn't particularly close. I was slightly worried when it went through that Kanavi was gonna smite early, but he was holding on.
But diving a Rise is one thing, diving a Yorick is a whole other task. But Kanavi seems like he's up for the challenge. That's a canceled back with the flag. Gonna look to see if he can catch Flaundra trying to get away from his tier 1 turret. The exhaust is really clutch here from Hong. There's the baby cage down. Flaundra using some healing, but the knockup comes back through, and Cream is so ahead They just elites Flandra. TES are monsters on the map the way they're just finding dive after dive in this game 3.
Yeah. Flandra trying to use the Morning Mist to grab a couple of people and walk away, got some deep wards, and they're only really worried about 1 or 2 wards in their jungle, none of them particularly well positioned.
Herald down in the mid lane. We take a crack at another turret. No grubs, so there's not as much of a threat to burn it through, but the wave, yeah, they do just end up taking this mid-tier 1, and Cream is looking for more here, catching Tarzan out, just trying to take his wolves. The Realm Warp's going to...
Such a chunk of damage.
This is
part of the problem.
Shanks just TP'd out, seeing Kanavi clearing a ward. That is how much aura Kanavi J4 has right now.
He's right as well. That's the worst thing, I think, is that Shanks is correct to do that because he would have died. He would have given over another kill. Instead, it's just going to be Tower, it's going to be this Hextech Drake being picked up, and as AL, you have got to find a way back into this game right now, but what can you play around? Hope isn't in a decent spot. He's okay at the moment, but still, both him and Shanks are just slowly trying to stack their tiers up, right? They haven't really been able to fully get themselves towards those second items, not in the same way that even Jackie Love, who I'd say has had a pretty quiet game, he's 2 items completed already. And get a couple of picks here as AL. There is a ton of standing gold available to them to pull themselves back into this game and even ahead. But being able to find those picks, being able to step up far enough is going to be pretty risky. Atakan already below half HP.
Here we go. First real pressure point here for AL. Trying to stop this Opticon take. Nature's Grass goes down. Can Tarzan get a hero steal in? No, he can't even get in. But over the stuns, he actually smites Opticon away from Kanavi. How much can TES get with kills to make sure Opticon isn't a huge lifeline? It's only 1.
Wow. That's so rough right there for TES. They do everything correctly. It felt like Cream was able to do a ton of damage too, but they just don't stop Tarzan from getting into the pit, and the fact he's able to steal that way. 369 also caught out. Is he just dead?
He's in timeout on the plays. Oh no, they don't have enough damage. Flandra gets thrown the Cataclysm. Kanavi is under turret, but there's hope with the Mystic Shot to pick up the first kill. Kanavi's really low. Hog has to protect his own jungler, but he gives a double over to Hope. TES are starting to really flounder, and AS are going for the blow here to just knock them back into an even game. Stay with the flag and drag through for Kanavi. Jackie Love's finally here. Jackie Love trying to rescue this bird play as he flashes through 2 members of AL to shut down 1, find himself a second. Jackie Love, vintage moment to rescue a bad play from TES. But it's Cream that's going to be the final casualty here as Tarzan flies forward with the phase rush to try and knock him down. Twisted advance forward. 1 Bramble smash. Flandra's play plays. There is the ace for AL. We've got a whole new game on our hands.
That's going to pick them up 6 quick kills, which is really, really cool to see. TES, I mean, it's a long set of plays, but it loses them out onto both the Atakan and now potentially onto a Dragon right here. Kanavi's still going to be dead for 4 more seconds. No hope of a Smite steal either. Teleport coming into the pit just to make sure this one is going to be secured. And AL, they show light.
No matter how that last fight went, Cream is still 2.5 items deep on this Aurora, level 15. And AL, they have to be really careful, especially Tarzan, who is still particularly squishy. This is a full AP Maokai. He gets engaged out with the flag and drag. Glacial Fissure comes across, and they pick off Tarzan first. Shanks will Realm Warp back out, but now they have no real engage tool and no peel to protect them for 369 with the World Ender, looking to be a series ender alongside Cream, who picks himself up the double kill. Hope, though, with a nice Mystic Shot, gets 1 back.
Yeah.
But the rest of this bottom lane can't get close enough for any more of these kills. It's way too dark in their own jungle.
It's the entire game so far, but it's still true for AL. They have no vision down towards the bottom side of the map. They can't afford to send members to really go and check it. So that is just going to be that sole point completed right here for TES. 5 minutes now until they can get themselves a Hextech Soul, and that would be huge for their teams in the LPL this split. Puts them in conversations for being able to win the entire thing, potentially. Baron going to be started up by TES. AL, they don't know this is happening, but they do know this is happening.
Yeah, and Flandra's going to TP, but it's too late. Tarzan, do you have another steal in you? No, he doesn't. Kanavi takes away the Baron, and now Tarzan is as good as dead. Between Worlds is going to get Cream back on the backline. Kyle has to flash back into the red buff pit, but Kanavi is flashing after Hope. That Ezreal, who was so big and bad in the last fight, is getting chased down, sectioned off, and cut down by Cream. And now TES have the wrap on the rest of the members of AL. It's all crumbling, one by one, kill by kill, just like game 1. 1 Baron is all TES need to make a statement to the league. The BLG series was a wash. TES are still a top dog in Group of Set.
Yeah, they keep themselves above everybody else right here. 6-1. They've had an incredible first round robin in this series. And the way that they've played has just been gorgeous. Like you said, all they need, one Baron, pick it up, run it straight on through. 31-minute game, pretty quick to end as well. AL, are they back? No, not yet.
And they've got a lot more